Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Modern Horizons 2 draft. Been having a lot of fun playing this format, and yeah, I will take the sword. Mythic sword seems good. So, whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, you can flicker a creature and rampant growth. I mean, that seems good. We can build a deck around that. We don't even have to build a deck around that. We can just build a deck and have that. It's going to be good. Okay. I'm kind of tempted to do the red-white deck with the modular creatures, because if we're going to have an artifact, we might as well lean hard into artifacts. It's also probably one of the decks that's best equipped to equip the artifact, because we're going to have a lot of cheap creatures, stuff with menace, etc. So I think that's what I'm going to lean into today. So we'll take the Arcbound Mouser, because I want the cheap creature. We can take Mind Collapse as basically free removal. I think this card is really, really good in Limited. It was really good when it was used against us. We have to be on the lookout for creatures that'll be good to flicker in our colors. We could take Razortide Bridge, but I think the artifact lands have been going late, at least the two drafts that I've done so far. Of course, this is day 2, so I don't know if the meta's changed, if people have kind of figured it out a little bit more. But I'm going to take Mind Collapse, because I really like it for removal. Extruder is a very, very strong effect. I'm not sure if it's better than Slasher. It's less you're less likely to get this card than Slasher, because this card is an uncommon. I wouldn't mind Blacksmith Skill. Blacksmith Skill we can actually protect the sword with, which is awesome. I really like the fact that this is any permanent you have you can protect. I think white should have... If you're not going to give white the card advantage, you ought to give white the versatility to protect anything it has. So, I'm going to take Extruder, though. Hopefully we wheel, like, the Arcbound Slashers or that combat trick anyway. Alright, I would not mind a Foundry Helix, but I think Foundry Helix is more likely to wheel than Arcbound Tracker is. When you're playing either of the artifact decks, the blue-white or red-white or some combination of them, you really want like a critical mass of artifacts. Because like with red-white, you want to play a ton of creatures, because if any of them die, you want to have something you can put the modular counters onto, and you'd never want to miss anything on curve. You're not going to have that much card advantage because you're Boros, but I'll take the tracker. Who knows? Maybe I should have actually gone for the, what do you call it? The other card, the Foundry Helix. So, let's see. Fairgrounds Patrol is a 2-mana 2/1 that you can exile from the graveyard to make a Thopter. We don't have any 2-drops yet, so it's something to think of. There's another Arcbound Tracker, or there's Captain Ripley Vance. Ripley Vance is she's really good at like removing creatures. I don't know how frequently we'll be able to cast 3 spells in a turn, so I think I take the tracker here. Fairgrounds Patrol probably will come around. Arcbound Prototype is fantastic. This is exactly what we were looking for. It's a 2-mana creature that we can just play on curve and start building our board. I wouldn't mind Knighted Mirror wheeling, but Arcbound Prototype is what we're looking for. Let's see. Late to Dinner. I don't think we're going to need to be reanimating. This is definitely for the black-white deck. Bottle Golems is fine. But I think I'm going to take Mere Scrappling. Okay. Nothing in this pack speaks out to me extremely. Revolutionist wouldn't be bad, but we have almost no way to turn on the Madness cost. And I don't want to pay 6 mana for a 3/3, so we're just going to take the land. The ability to splash is, I mean, it's somewhat worth it, but the fact, like, we're occasionally going to need artifacts that are non-creature. More in the blue deck than in the others, but it's still possible that we need the artifact count. Between the black-red and the white-blue, I think we take the white-blue because white-blue is the Affinity archetype. Black-red could let me splash some of the more powerful Madness cards, but I think I'm going to take Razortide Bridge because that's going to open up more possibilities for cards I can splash. Let's see. I think I'm going to take I'm going to take Faithless Salvaging. This seems like the better kind of card to have in a aggressive deck. I will take the bear, even though it's not an artifact. I guess if no one's going to take Ripley Vance, I'll take her. Alright, let's see. So Thrasta is a card that I probably won't be able to play. Let me make sure she's not worth anything. Because a bunch of the random Modern Horizons 2 cards are actually worth a bunch of money now. There's a couple of rares that I passed up yesterday that were worth nothing that are now worth like $30. So I think we either take Mind Collapse because it's really good, or we take Arcbound Prototype, and I think I'm gonna go with Mind Collapse. I know that seems weird, passing up a Mythic and an Uncommon, but I think this is the best card for our deck. Okay, Thought Monitor is a fantastic card in the Artifact deck. I will definitely splash for it. So any blue artifact lands we find, especially if they overlap with white or red, we're going to take. But Thought Monitor is like crazy good. Let's see, Arcbound Whelp. I think we take Arcbound Whelp. The Prototype might be better. And I could take Chrome Courier. I guess it depends on how tall I want to go, how much I actually want to be casting my spells. So I can take the Prototype to try and be more aggressive. The Whelp is better top end. Chrome Courier replaces itself, is better in the Affinity focused deck because it gains you life, is a little more defensive, but it does fly. And this is actually a great flicker target for Sword of Hearth and Home. It does increase my reliance on being 3 colors, but I think I'm actually going to take it. General Ferris Rockerick. It's a 3-mana 3/1, hexproof from monocolored. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, make a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. Okay. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, I only have one other multicolored spell. Is it better for me to just take a Mouser or a Rustvale Bridge? It might be. This is a strong effect, but like I said, I only have one multicolor spell. I think I'm going to take the artifact land that's double on color. Hopefully we wheel the Mouser. Hopefully whoever would take the Mouser would take the General instead. So, Sterling Grove, which is a reprint. Sweep the Skies, we're probably not casting anything that's double blue. Chrome Courier is fantastic, but I really would want to take the blue-red land here. I want to make sure that my mana is situated if I'm going to be 3-color. Hopefully that wheels or Rustvale Bridge wheels. I kind of enjoy the fact that there are generally multiple like artifact tap lands in decks. So Slagstrider is great. It's a fantastic red affinity payoff. Foundry Helix I think is actually better, especially because we missed the first one. So I'm going to take Foundry Helix. Oh, Shardless Agent. I do have Greenland. Cascading, while good, I don't think us cascading is going to be the best. We don't have that much high power stuff in the 1 and 2 drop slots, and it's not like we have any suspend cards to cascade into, 0-mana suspend cards. We probably don't need black and white fixing, so I'm going to take Arcbound Slasher. I'm going to take another Arcbound Slasher, I think. Actually, Vidalcan Infiltrator is another fantastic creature to wield Sword of Hearth and Home. It's not an artifact, we can't modular onto it, but it does seem reasonable, just given the considerations that we're working under. I will take another Arcbound Prototype. We don't actually need that much white at the moment. Mistvault Bridge, that's another blue land. We can take either another Mistvault Bridge, or we can take a Arcbound Prototype. I'm going to take the Bridge, I think. The Mouser came around, which is fantastic. The Chrome Courier came around, which is fantastic. I will take another Faithless Salvaging, but I may not even be playing the first. I probably will play the first, just because I need some way to cycle through my deck, but... Alright, let's see. I like Sojourner's Companion. Search the Premises is laughably bad, at least in this format. Unholy Heat is removal, and we do not have... Do we have any removal at all? Technically Captain Ripley Vance, that's it. So we can either take the Shock, or we can take the Mirror Enforcer, and I think I'm going to take the Mirror Enforcer still. Razortide Bridge is another perfect fixing land. Barbed Spike. Does this flicker creatures only? Or permanents? Creatures. Okay. Let's see. Blacksmith skills, pretty great. We're still missing removal. There's another Shardless Agent. Yeah, I'm gonna take the land. Oh, now I wish I'd taken the Shardless Agents. I love this card, and I'm gonna be building decks around it. But I can't play it in Limited, especially not in a deck like this. So my options are Parcelmere, Rustvale Bridge, Mirror Scrappling. So I have 7 lands, I have 21 other playables. So unless a playable is particularly fantastic, I think I just take the land. Like, when you have, like, 22, 23 playables, you really don't need to keep taking creatures and stuff, especially if fixing is available, because you're going to make it harder on yourself trying to cut cards out of a deck. Whereas if you just take good mana, you can then play any of the cards you have. You can even splash if you have to. Vectis Gloves actually seem sick as well, but I'm going to take the other affinity payoff here. We do have to be slightly careful that we still run some number of mountains, otherwise we can't play Mind Collapse for its alternative cost, which I don't expect to be doing all that often, but it is still important. Sanctuary Raptor. It's a 3-mana 2/1 flyer with, whenever it attacks, if you control 3 or more tokens, it gets 2/0 and getting first strike. Otherwise, we can take another Vidalcan Infiltrator, another Arcbound Prototype. I think I take the Raptor. Infiltrator's great, but I think I'm only going to need the one. Burdened Aerialist we can flicker to make treasures. I just don't think that's necessarily good. Yeah, I'm going to take the Raptor here. Okay, so in this pack, there's Sweep the Skies, which, I mean, we do have a number of lands that tap for 1-off color, and this gives us a reason to do that. Aeromoeba is a great Aquamoeba reference. Parcelmere is reasonable, but I think Sweep the Skies is higher power level, even if we don't cast it as often. Let's see, Mental Journey, Glorious Enforcer. This card is definitely for the Reanimator deck. I can take Thornglint Bridge for the white tap, but I think we actually take Drossford Bridge because we have more red than we would ever have green, unless Shardless Agent comes around, and then I'm going to feel a little bit silly, but because I would totally try and splash for that. There are 2 Solitary Confinements going around in this pack. Abundant Harvest, no. Yeah, I'm going to take Tanglepool Bridge. Unholy Heat came around because nobody apparently respects the removal. I could take Storm God's Oracle, but I think having the 1-mana Shock is actually going to be better for us. The Sojourner's Companion came around, so we'll take it. We can just play a bunch of Mirror Enforcers. I'm definitely taking this card for constructed purposes and not because I'm going to play it. Let's see. Vectis Gloves. Yep. Well, I didn't start off trying to draft Affinity. I started off trying to draft the Boros modular deck, and then we got past a blue rare, so... Vidalcan Infiltrator is definitely the best card for us there. Same with Parcelmere. And last card is Mount Valus Minotaur. Okay, so... group creatures separately and take a look at what we're dealing with. We have 10 lands. That is the one thing about picking this much fixing, though. If you're playing the Affinity deck, it's definitely worth it. If you're playing these guys, or anything like them. But, you won't have that much of a sideboard. I don't know when we got to step through, but now that we're heavier blue, I might actually end up playing it, especially if I don't have that many mountains. So, I don't think I'm going to play the Faithless Salvaging. I think these cards are great. Vectis Gloves might actually be sideboardable. Viashino Lashclaw is not where I want to be. I want to minimize the number of non-artifact permanents I'm playing. Captain Ripley Vance. I mean, I do have Affinity stuff, so it's not like I can't cast free spells. Because I have Thought Monitor, the Companions. So, like, if I can get these guys' costs down to, like, 1 or 2, I could totally play 3 of them in a turn. The problem is I'm going to run out of stuff before I'm going to empty my hand before I get to the late game. And if I'm casting a Chrome Courier, I'm probably not playing 3 spells in a turn. So I think I'm going to cut Ripley Vance. I may still want to cut 1 Infiltrator, because it's my only non-artifact creature at this point. It's still really good, because it can wield Sword of Hearthenhome, and not be able to be blocked, which is fantastic. And then I need to cut 1 more card. I can run 16 land completely viably in this deck, because all of my... I technically will curve out at 5 for 1 card. So all of my 7 drops, if you look at them, all have affinity. So if I'm playing out artifact lands only, if I play out 4 artifact lands, these guys cost 3, and since these all enter tapped, I'd have 3 untapped lands. So I could conceivably play these guys in the 3-drop slot. Like, so I could play a 3-mana 2/2 that divinations and flies, or I can play a 3-mana 4/4 that's just, I can play off of any color of mana. Like, that seems really good. So, I'm cool with this. And we are playing aggro, so we gotta remember that. Let's go ahead and add all of the on-color... Well, no, I need to cut one more card first. Hang on. What is my worst? This guy's got Menace. This can come in with haste. Extruder's a fantastic sack outlet. Maybe it's actually Parcel Mirror? I think it is Parcel Mirror. Now, Parcel Mirror is an artifact creature that does help with the affinity stuff, but he's also a 2-mana 2/1. Like, these guys are better because they have modular, and I've already explained that Vidalcan Infiltrator is probably our best 2-drop. And I know we have 2 Vidalcan Infiltrators, but affinity. Okay, so we've got to add any on-color stuff first. So red-blue, red-white, and white-blue. How much blue do we actually have in the deck? Okay, we need these Mistvault Bridge and the Tanglepool Bridge. Then I guess red is technically one of our primary colors. So yeah, we can actually play all of our artifact mana. And this wants us to play 2/2 and 2. So with this setup, I'm considering cutting a Mind Collapse. Because we only have 2 mountains in the deck. I could actually cut an island for a 3rd mountain just to make it slightly better. Because we are playing some tapped islands, effectively. I think I'm going to do that. Because, like, hard casting this isn't unreasonable, especially if we're going to be doing affinity things and trying to dump our whole hand. This is not as good of an affinity deck as my first one because we don't have Urza's Saga. So, alright. I think that's good for the deck tech. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alrighty, we will be on the draw for round 1, game 1. And we have a mountain for Mind Collapse, we have Unholy Heat, and we have a creature, but we won't be able to play it for a while. I think we have to mulligan. Okay, this is significantly better. I will keep. I'm going to put back Mind Collapse, as that's the only creature I can't, or the only card I can't currently play. Okay, opponent starts Power Depot, so they are some kind of artifact deck. Lead on the Mouser, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Plains, plays an Arcbound Prototype. We will also play an Arcbound Prototype. No attacks, pass the turn. Opponent plays an Island, plays an Ethereum Spinner. I don't imagine they attack. Okay, we untap. We draw Vidalcan Infiltrator. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Well, we'll need to draw mana other than red and white. Okay, opponent no blocks. They go to 18. Play Arcbound Prototype. And a tap land. Pass the turn. If we can draw an untapped land to play Extruder, we're in a fantastic place. Okay, opponent plays Barbed Spike. And a tap land. Opponent passes. We untap. We draw Vectis Gloves. Well, first things first, go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent does block. So, modular onto the Mouser. Opponent's going to modular onto the Thopter. We'll play Vectis Gloves, which presents an interesting problem for our opponent. They're going to need an answer because otherwise we can just start attacking. And they can't block because we have Artifact Landwalk. Opponent plays a land. Prismatic Ending, they're going to exile the Mouser. That is unfortunate. They tap enough mana just so that they can get the Thopter off of the Ethereum Spinner. Play Slagwood's Bridge. Let's go ahead and equip. Go to combat. Attack for 4, can't be blocked. So we're currently losing the race, although possibly not for long. Opponent swings out, hits us for 7, we go to 7. We untap and draw Sword of Hearth and Home. Play Extruder. Pass the turn. So we don't want to sack any lands this turn, if we can avoid it. Alright, that's game. Yep, so Prismatic Ending was very good for our opponent there. I will be bringing in Seal of Cleansing as an additional piece of removal, and I might be cutting Mind Collapse for it. Just because Mind Collapse is going to be hard for us to cast. And we're going to run it back. We saw none of our blue lands, which, I mean, we run plenty. We have 7? Yeah, we have 7 blue sources. We didn't see a single one. And we happen to draw 2 of our blue cards. We don't run that many. Alright, we'll play first. This hand is okay. If we get another blue source, we can sweep the skies. If we get another land, we can play Sanctuary Raptor and Arcbound Tracker if it's red. So, lead on Mistvault Bridge, pass the turn. We'll probably have to play Plains into Vidalcan Infiltrator on turn 2. Or not. We'll play another Artifact land, pass. Opponent plays a Plains. Plays a Barbed Spike. We untap and draw Vectis Gloves, so play Arcbound Tracker, pass the turn. 1, 2, 3 artifacts currently. So if I draw an untapped land, or if I draw an artifact land, I can play Thought Monitor. Opponent attacks us for 2. That's fine, no blocks. Opponent plays an island into an Ethereum Spinner. We untap, we draw Extruder. Yeah, that costs 4. So we either sweep the skies and make 2 Thopters, or we Sanctuary Raptor. So go to combat. Attack for 2. Hit our opponent to 18. And I think we play Sanctuary Raptor this turn. Because Sanctuary Raptor gets better if we can sweep the skies for 3 colors of mana. Like if we draw an untapped mountain here, or an untapped island. Okay, opponent plays Power Depot into Sojourner's Companion. Then they attack. We'll take 4 here. We untap and draw Drossforge Bridge. So play the bridge. Play Thought Monitor, tapping like this. Draw some cards. Okay. Then I think we pass. Opponent untaps. They play a land. They play a Chrome Courier. Opponent goes to combat. I think we will block the Ethereum Spinner. And I'm going to modular onto the Thought Monitor. Okay, opponent plays an Arcbound Prototype. We untap. We draw Foundry Helix. Do I need to cast Foundry Helix this turn? If I do, I can't play anything else. I can play Seal of Cleansing, and I can play Vidalcan Infiltrator. That's probably my best bet right now. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Opponent's going to combat, and they're swinging out. So let's block here, block here. I don't really want to trade with any of that stuff. Now, I sort of suspect my opponent has the +2/+2 hexproof and indestructible, which means if I activate Seal of Cleansing there, I actually die. So let's see what they modular onto. I could have blocked the 4/4 to better preserve my life total. And maybe I should have, but they're going to counter up Chrome Courier. Alright. Then they pass. Oh, they're casting something. Sweep the skies to make more Thopters. Alright. We untap. We draw Chrome Courier, which we can use to gain life. Because if you put an artifact card into your hand, right? Yeah, okay. We'll leave up red mana in case we get our shock and like a land or something. Plains or Sojourner's Companion. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could actually play Sojourner's Companion. I would gain life, and then I would be able to block theirs. So play it for 1. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent untaps. They draw. They play a land. They go to equip Barbed Spike. Sure. So they go to combat. Let's kill the courier. Okay. They did not have the combat trick, thankfully, or were unwilling to use it. So block here. trade, kill one, and trade. Not a huge fan of losing this many creatures, but we got to try and turn this around. Lens Flare. Alright, that's pretty bad. So we're back down to 4. And on their second main, opponent has a Marble Gargoyle. Okay. We untap. We draw an Arcbound Tracker. So if I play Mouser and Tracker this turn like I want to, I lose. I can Foundry Helix, but I'd have to sack a land. So my only real play is to make 3 Thopters. And we'll hit our opponent for 2. The only real problem is if my opponent plays the Panther with Riot. So we'll hit our opponent for 2, take him to 19. Or if they have a Sweeper or several pieces of removal. I think that was our only other plane, so we have no other untapped white sources. Opponent goes to combat, they're going to attack out. So block and block. And I think we do have to chump because of the existence of the combat trick. They didn't have it before, but they may have drawn it. Opponent plays Disciple of the Sun. They get to pick up a permanent with CMC 3 or less, put it in their hand. Okay. They play an island. So their last card in hand is Chrome Courier. And they equip the Barbed Spike. We untap, we draw a mountain. So play a mountain, play the Mouser, and then play Tracker. Okay. No attacks. Pass the turn. So we have to hope they don't have 1 direct damage this turn. We have nothing that can block that Gargoyle, so... Opponent leads on Chrome Courier, revealing, I think, Parcel Mirror and Plains? Yep. So they pick up the Parcel Mirror. They attack us for 3 in the air. Okay. We go to 1. They play Ornithopter of Paradise and Parcel Mirror. So we untap. We draw Arcbound Slasher. I can Extruder and make a big Mouser. I can play the Vectis Gloves and equip them to Mouser and gain 3. But they have enough flyers that doesn't matter, I think. My best bet might be to Foundry Helix, kill the Gargoyle, sacking the Tracker to make a 3/3, and then play out the Gloves. I think that's my best bet. So sack Tracker, kill the Gargoyle, upgrade the Mouser. And we're doing this now because my opponent does have... Like, if they top decked a Plains and played it and I didn't Helix them on their upkeep or something, we could be in huge trouble. Then we will play the Vectis Gloves and pass the turn. If we draw a land, we can make a huge unblockable Mouser and pray that that's enough. But if my opponent draws their Prismatic Ending, we might be screwed. If we can make it multiple turns... oh goodness, hang on, I'm getting a call. Hello? That's extended warranty. Okay, opponent can't pump attack power, so we're going to block like this and go to 1. I just really hope they don't have removal. There's a very slim chance we can win this, but it basically involves making a big life linker. We drew the island, so play the island, play Extruder, equip the Gloves, go to combat, attack for 5 that can't be blocked. Then we are going to sack here and sack here. We don't have that many untapped lands left, so... Oh, crap. Okay, they sack Parcel Mirror to draw. That's actually good. Okay, we gain back up to 8. Pass the turn. I just realized that Arcbound Slasher is actually the unphyrexianized version of Slash Panther, which I think is cool. Okay, opponent plays another Parcel Mirror, then plays a land. Even if they have Prismatic Ending at this point, we could make a big Extruder. So opponent goes to combat. They attack for 1 in the air. That's fine. If they have nothing else to do, they're going to equip Barbed Spike. Okay. We untap. We have to pay the Echo cost here. We draw Rustvale Bridge. So play Rustvale Bridge. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Saved by the cat. We were on death's door for so many turns. But it has something now? Okay, they're drawing a card. That makes sense. I don't know why they equipped there if they were just going to sack. I guess it was to deter Extruder from attacking, but... Pass the turn. I think for our opponent to effectively recover from this, they're going to need 2 removal spells? Ether Sworn Sphinx. They cascade into Prismatic Ending, which will be cast with 0 colors. If they cast it. Yeah, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So that worked out in our favor. Cast with 0 colors. Exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to 0. Okay. Does nothing. Not gonna sack. And our opponent plays a Thraben Watcher. And they're dead. Because we can just play Arcbound Slasher as a 5/5, sack it, put 5/1/1 counters on a creature they can't block. That's only 7, so sure. They gain up to 15. So I actually don't think I can kill them this turn. We get another Mouser, play Arcbound Slasher, give it a 1/1 counter, sack to power up the Mouser, Modular there. Oh no, I can kill them. I can sack my lands. Sack the bridge, sack the other bridge, go to combat, attack for 15. Awesome. We were down to 1 life, I think more than once too, so that was pretty sick. I could bring in Step Through, but it's going to be hard to cast, and I'm not sure what I would take out for it. So we're going to run it back. We were dead multiple times to a few different cards, but our opponent just luckily did not have them that game. Okay, we'll be on the draw for game 3. And, yeah, I'll keep this. Not the most amazing hand in the world, but it should work. Opponent starts Goldmire Bridge tapped. We'll start Razortide Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Arcbound Prototype. We draw Vectis Gloves. So play the Mouser. I guess we actually play white spells, so play Razortide Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent attacks for 2. In no world do we block. They play a Plains. And they play a Marble Gargoyle. We draw an Arcbound Prototype. So play the Prototype. Play the red land. Pass the turn. No attacks. Next turn we'll probably end up playing the gloves and suiting up. Okay, opponent attacks for 2 in the air. That's fine. They play a land. Then they play Phantasmal Dreadmaw. Okay. We draw Unholy Heat. So kill the 6/6. Glad I played the red land. Go to combat. Attack for 2. No blocks. And we go to our second main. Play Tanglepool Bridge. And play the Infiltrator. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They attack for 2 in the air. That's fine. We go to 14. They play a land. They play Parcel Mirror. And they play Ethereum Spinner. We untap. We draw Sojourner's Companion, which we have 6 artifacts, so it's basically free. Play an island. Play Vectis Gloves. Equip the Mouser with Vectis Gloves. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Can't be blocked. Okay. Then we cast Sojourner's Companion for free. Pass the turn. And we'll be able to hardcast Mind Collapse. So they sack Parcel Mirror, and they cannot beat the Vectis Gloves. Who would have thought all you had to do to win was put gloves on a cat? It's such a silly image. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, we are on the draw. We have all of our colors of mana, and we even have a spell we can cast, but if we don't draw a land, we're in trouble, so I think we have to mulligan. This hand is, I think, significantly better. I'm going to keep, and I'm going to put back Drossforge Bridge. So we're going to lead on Silverbluff Bridge. So we have Unholy Heat. We have access to Unholy Heat, and we'll have Mere Scrappling on turn 2. Arcbound Prototype is also nice. I may lead on that. So opponent led on Forest. They're playing a mountain and passing. We draw Chrome Courier. Okay, I'm going to play the Scrappling this turn, and probably the Prototype next turn. I have access to Unholy Heat if I need to remove something, but odds are my opponent will not want to waste removal on a 1-mana 1/1, where they may if they have, or they may have used removal on the Arcbound Prototype. Okay, I am going to kill the Jewel-Eyed Cobra. They get a treasure. We untap. We draw a mountain. Okay. Play Tanglepool Bridge. Play the Prototype. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent untaps. They draw. They play a mountain. They play an Urban Daggertooth. Okay. So opponent passes. We untap. We draw another Chrome Courier. Lead on Chrome Courier. Let's get Thought Monitor, which currently costs 2. Go to combat. Attack with the Prototype. If they block, we lose a lot of our artifacts, which makes Thought Monitor a lot worse. But we basically maintain our power while answering our opponent's creatures. The only way this doesn't work out is if they have the shock here, which was possible, but I think we're ultimately okay. So pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Oh, they have a naturalize effect. That's pretty good. Alright. We untap. We draw Razortide Bridge. So I can play this for 4, which is the most efficient use of my mana this turn. So play Thought Monitor. Draw some cards. Pass the turn. Not quite enough affinity to play the Companion. Opponent untaps. They draw. They play a land. They go to combat. They attack for 2. This is fine. Then they play Captain Ripley Vance. We untap. Draw a mountain. Play Chrome Courier. We get... Slasher's not bad. I think going wide is going to be better than going tall, so we will take Slasher. Play the bridge. How much does this cost? 1. Okay. Go to combat. Attack for 2 in the air. Opponent takes 2. Then we play the Companion. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Yavimaya Elder. Then they play a land. They sack Yavimaya Elder, getting 2 more lands. And drawing a card. 2 mountains. Okay. We untap. We draw Bridge. So play the Bridge. Play Slasher. Give it haste. Go to combat. And swing for the fences. Opponent does not block, and they go to 6. That tells me they either have a board wipe, which we would be very sad about, or they have nothing, and they need to maintain as much board presence as they can for their final turn. Opponent plays a mountain we knew about, and scoops. Fantastic. So versus my opponent's deck, it's possible I want Step Through. I mean, Mount Valus Manticore is actually not bad, because we have multiple like artifact creatures we could discard, which will shock instead of do just 1 damage, but I don't think we need it. Double red might also be difficult for us, even though red is... I think we have the most mountains and stuff, but... Alright. I will keep this. Opponent starts on Forest. We draw Tracker. Play Mistveil Bridge, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a mountain. They play a Jade Avenger, which is a 2-mana 2/2 that when it blocks or becomes blocked, becomes a 4/4. We draw Prototype. Play the Plains. Play the Infiltrator. Pass the turn. Prototype's nice because we have something to play next turn. I may have to cycle Sojourner's Companion, which I would not be thrilled about. Opponent plays a Forest. Attacks for 2. No blocks. I would like to draw a land to play the Chrome Courier next turn, but they play Yavimaya Elder. We untap and draw Extruder. Okay. I am going to cycle for the red-blue land and play that. Pass the turn. I will probably block Yavimaya Elder. There's no sense in us attacking here. We don't gain anything out of it, really. The reason I got the red-blue land is because it allows me to play Sweep the Skies if I want to. They attack us for 2. We'll take 2. Opponent plays Jewel Eye Cobra. We draw Unholy Heat. So, time to play Chrome Courier, see if we can't get a land. I will take Rustvale Bridge. Mountain lets me Lightning Bolt the Jewel Eye Cobra, but there might yet be a better opportunity. Hit our opponent for 2. Chrome Courier blocking the Cobra is actually better than blocking Yavimaya Elder as well, because Yavimaya Elder isn't quite... It doesn't have too much power. Flourishing Strike. Okay. So they hit us for a bunch. We go to 9. Untap. We draw Prototype. I can play Prototype, or I can play Tracker and kill the Cobra. Or I can play Sweep the Skies with 3 colors of mana used. So I think what I do is I play the Raptor. Because Sweep the Skies next turn, we can make this Raptor actually large. And we'll kill the Cobra now. They make a treasure. I'm going to leave Infiltrator back because it blocks Elder well. We'll be taking 2 from the Jade Avenger. But next turn, we'll have a big Sanctuary Raptor as well as a bunch of tokens to block with. Okay, opponent has another Flourishing Strike. I think that means I've got a chump. Killing flyers and making your guys huge. It's pretty good. Opponent plays a land. Well, there's a chance we can recover from this. We draw Mind Collapse, but have no mountains. I think I need to save Mind Collapse. So I'm going to play Prototype and Prototype this turn. Just so we have a blocker. Pass the turn. So a mountain would be an excellent draw, because then I could Sweep the Skies and cast Mind Collapse. Opponent attacks for 4, block here. Modular up, make a 4/4. They play Sanctuary Raptor, which is an issue because I don't currently have a flyer, but we get a Foundry Helix. Blue, blue, red, white. Sweep the Skies. Pass the turn. Alright, it's starting to turn around for us. Opponent untaps. The problem is if they have like another Flourishing Strike, then we're in huge trouble. Or if they have instant speed removal. I feel like this deck has been on its back feet way, way more than proactively attacking. I've been like having to control, which sucks, because I don't think this deck is meant for it, but we have just enough life gain for it to be dangerous. Opponent no attacks. We untap. We draw another Mind Collapse. So I think we play Extruder, because that gives us like the most combat trickery, just being a free sack outlet. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. So we have to spend all our mana this turn paying the Echo cost. We get another Rustvale Bridge. More mana is nice, especially artifact mana here. Then we pass. No attacks. We need to start casting our removal to be able to attack. Opponent is not willing to cycle Yavimaya Elder. 4 mana. They play Urban Daggertooth. And then they pass. We untap. We draw Slagwood's Bridge. So play the bridge. Hardcast Mind Collapse. Next turn, we can play Tracker and have Foundry Helix ready. Which is why I'm casting Mind Collapse and not Foundry Helix this turn. Even though Mind Collapse does more damage. We just gotta play Ultra Safe for a little bit longer. Okay. Opponent passes. We untap. We draw Drossforge Bridge. Play the bridge. Play the Tracker. And now I think we are quite comfortable. So go to combat. Attack with the 4/4. They block with the Avenger. So just sack the Slagwood Bridge, make it a 5/5. Their guy becomes a 4/4. Dies to the 5/5. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. They play Tireless Provisioner. They play a land. They can make a food or a treasure. They make a food. So that Sanctuary Raptor will eventually become a problem. But I think what I do here is Foundry Helix on the end step. And we'll sack the Drossforge Bridge, because we don't need a tapped mountain here. We go up to 9. Untap. We draw an Arcbound Slasher. Alright. Play the Slasher. Give it haste. Go to combat. Attack, 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 attack. Modular plus sack outlet is really strong. The opponent's going to chump the 5/5. I'm not going to sack it. If they just want Yavimaya Elder to die, they're going to cycle it anyway. And it's better to keep our counters as distributed as possible for a bit. So opponent has 1 card in hand. They get a forest and a mountain, so it's 2 more. And then they draw a card. We hit them for 8, and they go to 10. So we have 2 blockers. Opponent is going to sack the food to gain life. They untap. They play a land, which is a forest. They probably make a food. They make a treasure. Okay. They're going to play a Dusk Shell Crawler, probably putting a 1/1 counter on the Provisioner. Alright. They play another Urban Daggertooth. So they have 1 more card in their hand and a mountain. Spreading Insurrection. So let's see what they target. They're going to target the Thopter, the Extruder. They target the Thopter twice. Okay, so Extruder, we are going to... We're going to make a big menace creature. So sack the Panther, power up the Slasher, sack the Ornithopter, power up the Slasher. My opponent has just regular artifact destruction. But they are almost dead. And we will have other stuff to modular onto. So we will sack the Arcbound Prototype, and then sack the Extruder. Do I want to sack a land too? It's already big enough it'll kill my opponent. So we'll just sack the Extruder. Okay, last card in their hand's a mountain. Oh, you know what? I should have stacked it up on an Ornithopter, because they don't have any flyers. Okay, them attacking here means we can just Mind Collapse the Urban Dusktooth and... Or Urban Daggertooth. Dusktooth? We can kill the Daggertooth and then just swing lethal. They proliferate their guy. Go to combat. Attack them for lethal. Nice! So slight misplay, because I should have stacked on an Ornithopter, I think, rather than the Panther, but... Everything worked out fine. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, we'll be on the draw for round 3, and 0 lands, 3 7-drops means mulligan. Much better. I like this hand a lot more. I will keep. I'm going to put back a Mind Collapse, because we're going to need the mana. Opponent starts Swamp. We draw Silver Bluff Bridge. Lead on the red-white artifact duel. Opponent plays Plains. Plays a Vermin Gorger. Sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Alright. Play the Mouser. Play the Razortide Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat. They attack for 2, no blocks. We untap. We draw Vectis Gloves. So, play Silver Bluff Bridge. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent goes to 19. And we're going to play the Gloves this turn. Pass the turn. Because now if my opponent plays an artifact duel, we can just keep getting in for free. Okay, opponent plays a Guiltblade Prowler. No attacks. We draw Foundry Helix. So, play Chrome Courier. I don't really want the Drossforge Bridge, so I think I'm going to take the Infiltrator, and we'll play Tangle Pool. Could have gained life, but there's no real reason that I had to there. So next turn, right now, the plan is to equip Courier and attack. It's going to be very dependent on what they play, though. Opponent attacks for 4. Okay, no blocks. And then they play another Guiltblade Prowler. Okay, we draw an Arcbound Prototype. New plan. We are going to play the Prototype, play the Infiltrator, and attack for 1 in the air. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Marble Gargoyle. No attacks. We untap. Draw Slagwood's Bridge. Play the Bridge. Hardcast Mind Collapse to kill the Flyer. Go to combat and attack with the unblockable creature and our Flyer. Take our opponent to 15. Opponent no attacks. We untap. Draw Sojourner's Companion. So suit up the Chrome Courier, leaving up Foundry Helix mana. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Opponent takes 5. Okay. Play the 4/4 for free. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps and draws. They play a Swamp. Then they play a Hellmongrel, which I don't think matters that much. Are they dead? They're dead. So we untap. We draw Sword of Hearth and Home, which we don't even have to show our opponent. Play a Mere Scrappling. Make the Infiltrator bigger. Go to combat. Attack them for 6. Oh, they're not quite dead yet. They can gain life by sacking creatures to Vermin Gorger. So we'll just wait and see if they activate the ability. And if they do, we'll Foundry Helix in response. I think they have to. Yeah. Okay. Haha! It was not a slow roll. It was a cleverly planned illusion. Sack a land we don't care about, and Helix you. Didn't even have to show off the sword. That's pretty good. That's just like, we had everything that game. Alright. Cool. Let's do that again. I don't think we make any adjustments, we just run it back. Step through might actually be worth it, but we'll see. Alright, I think I'm okay with this hand, so we'll keep. Opponent leads on Plains. We will lead on the blue land. Pass the turn. Blue is the only color we wouldn't have access to otherwise next turn, if we wanted it. Play the on-color land, and the Scrappling. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Clattering Augur, draws a card, and plays a land. We untap and get a Razortide Bridge, so play a Mountain, play the Tracker. And the reason I played the Mountain here is because of Mind Collapse. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. They play a land. And I played the Mountain so I could Mind Collapse this turn if my opponent played something really scary we had to deal with. We untap. We draw Mountain. So 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts means Sojourner's Companion only costs 3. But I can make it cost 2, so I will. So cast Sojourner's Companion. Go to combat. And we will attack for 2 with Menace. Opponent no blocks. Pass the turn. They untap. Oh, this can't block. I should have been attacking with Mere Scrappling. I missed some damage. Opponent is going to World Weary to kill our Sojourner's Companion. I can sack Scrappling to keep it alive as a 1/1, but I don't think that's worth it. So we're just going to let this happen. We untap. We draw Arcbound Prototype. Play Slagwood's Bridge. Play the Prototype. Go to combat. attack for 3. Opponent can't block, pass the turn. So we, I think, missed 1 damage, possibly 2 this game. Opponent plays a swamp into a Scourge Familiar. Scourge Familiar is kind of scary. They're going to attack for 1. We're not going to block because that would put it in the grave, and then my opponent could pick it back up and draw more cards. I'm going to Mind Collapse the Scourge Familiar. Oh, if it's your turn. Okay, never mind. We untap. Draw Drossforge Bridge. Play the bridge. Kill the Scourge Familiar. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Take our opponent to 9. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. They're going to Piercing Rays to exile a tapped creature. That's pretty good, considering it's not killing it. They play a land. Then they play Vermingorger. Okay. They attack us for 1. We untap. We draw Arcbound Mouser, which does make our life a little easier. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent does not block. Hit our opponent to 7. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. They can now start looping Clattering Augur, but we're going to make them tap out if they want to do that. They play a land. They play Tizerus Charger. We untap. We draw Unholy Heat. So Unholy Heat, we could kill the Charger, or we could kill the Vermingorger. I think we wait. I can't make a big enough Arcbound prototype to attack profitably yet, unless I want to Unholy Heat my own creature, and I don't. Okay, I will kill this now. Because if their last card in hand's a trick they want to use, they have to not pick up their creature until next turn. Okay, they pick it up now. We kill their guy. We lose 2, they gain 2. Then we pass. They're going to replay Chattering Augur this turn, and that means we can start attacking with the prototype again. They draw a card and lose a life. If we could draw a Thought Monitor, or our sword, or... There's a lot of stuff we could draw that would be good. Necrogoyf, okay. Necrogoyf is a little bit of a problem, as is Legion Vanguard. We need to draw some stuff. Beginning of each player's upkeep, they discard. Okay. Discard a plains. We draw Vectis Gloves. So, play Mountain. Play Vectis Gloves. We're going to have to keep our hand empty. Equip the prototype. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Okay, opponent trades. They don't have enough cards in grave yet to replay that Tizerus Charger. Suit up the Mouser. Then we can equip the Mouser. Okay, pass the turn. They untap. They discard a card they don't have. They're going to sack Clattering Augur. Guiltblade Prowler. They leave it on top, so they draw Guiltblade Prowler. And they play Guiltblade Prowler. So if I could draw Extruder, it'd be pretty fantastic here. We could just cash in all the lands we know we're not going to use. Okay, no attacks. We untap. We discard a card we don't have. We draw Arcbound Tracker. Play the Tracker. I don't think it's worth attacking just to gain life. And keeping our guys with counters diversified is probably better. Our opponent having Piercing Rays in their deck means that may not be their only Piercing Rays. So opponent's going to pick up... No, they're not going to pick up Clattering Augur at the end step because they would just have to Augur because they would just have to discard it, I think. No, they will because then they'll discard and activate Guiltblade Prowler, which would let them draw? No? Okay. So they draw for turn. They play Hellmongrel. And they are passing. So if we could draw remove anything but land, really. Anything that affects the board. Card advantage would be most preferred, but we don't have any. Okay, pass the turn. The longer this goes, the more likely it is our opponent will be able to dig themselves out of it. Because they have so many activated abilities and value. Okay, they pick up Clattering Augur. They play Clattering Augur. They lose life, go down to 7. They play a land, go to combat. We untap. Discard trigger, we draw. We draw Arcbound Slasher. So, play Arcbound Slasher. No sense in giving it haste, I don't think. So we'll give it an extra 1/1 counter. And then pass the turn. Man, I would really like to draw our Thoughtcast creature. Okay, so they explore. Revealing Karmic Guide. Uh-oh. Karmic Guide is pretty good.
They can reanimate any creature they have. So they could get back Vermin Gorger and start draining us out. They have to discard whatever's in their hand, unless they pick up Clattering Augur to discard it instead. Which it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Oh, they don't want to discard Karmic Guide, so they're going to discard Clattering Augur. God, I just pointed that out, and for some reason could not get it. Okay. Opponent draws. They play Karmic Guide. But we got to start pressuring them. Yep, getting back Vermin Gorger. Our opponent can activate Guiltblade Prowler to draw a card here. They play a land. Opponent goes to combat. No attacks. We untap. We don't discard because we have nothing to discard. We draw Sojourner's Companion. Play it. Alright. Go to combat. And attack here. And they are going to double block. Oh, I should have equipped it with the gloves. I don't know what I was thinking. We want to kill the sack outlet. Okay. So move all the counters onto... from the slasher to the tracker. Then pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They have the echo cost for Karmic Guide, which it looks like they're paying. They don't discard because they have nothing to discard. Then they draw. Okay, they pick up their Clattering Augur. Then they replay him to draw a card. They go to 6. And then opponent passes. They play a land. We untap. We draw an island. Okay. Equip this with the gloves. Go to combat. Attack for 9. Okay, so opponent's going to block with the Goyf and the Karmic Guide. I could sack the Mirror Scrapling to make this a 10-8. But that would give my... it wouldn't protect my guy, and their Necrogoyf would just get bigger anyway. So, kill both. Put an absolutely massive number of counters on the Mouser. I am become Arcbound, Mouser of Worlds. that cat's got a turbocharger, at least. Play an island, pass the turn. So our opponent can sack the Augur to drain us again. They untap. They draw. Late to dinner, they're going to reanimate Karmic Guide. That's pretty good. They get a food. And they get to reanimate Necrogoyf. They have something else they can play this turn. Or they're just picking up and replaying Augur again. Yep. So we need some kind of instant speed removal. Our other Mind Collapse would be great. We untap. We draw Mind Collapse. Okay. So go to combat. Attack for 12. It has 10 toughness, so they have to triple block. They only have one sack outlet. They have to triple block if they want to kill it, I should specify. That blocking order is fine. Kill the Necrogoyf again. Opponent sacks the Necrogoyf, so we lose 2, they gain 2. But then we gain 12. Okay, they gain life from the food. I mean, it kind of seems like we just needed to put them into a deep enough abyss, to quote the Magic card. But we're killing multiple creatures a turn. And they're going to run out of reanimate spells eventually. They have a second Karmic Guide? They have multiple Karmic Guides. No wonder this person made it to the finals. That's insane. Then they play another Clattering Augur. How do we get out of this, then? We need to get our flyer. We need to get a bunch of flyers, actually. Opponent's going to attack us for 4. We literally don't care. Go to 19. Opponent plays another Hellmongrel. We untap. Discard nothing. We draw Rustvale Bridge. Now we're in trouble, though, because we're going to attack with our Arcbound Mouser, and it's the last time we're going to be able to use it to gain life. I mean, we'll be at a very high life total, and we'll have very big creatures left over, but we can't just hang back with it. We got to attack. This opponent blocks with the Necrogoyf and a Karmic Guide. Yep. Move all the 1/1 counters over to this creature. It is now a 14/14 Salamander. Just build your own Emrakul. Annihilator 1. Equip. Play the Rustvale Bridge. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to sack an Augur to drain us. They untap. They got to pay the Echo cost for Karmic Guide. Technically, they should have blocked with the other Karmic Guide, but Moto's interface is confusing. They play the Archfiend of Sorrow, then pass. Come on, good card. Another companion. How much power do they have? So if they block with 3 creatures... No, if they block with 4 creatures, they can kill Sojourner's Companion, and they can unearth this creature to deal damage. We still do it, though, right? And this doesn't have modular, so there's no sense in playing out our other companion beforehand. Go to combat. Attack for lethal. We kill anything that blocks. They might just chump, I guess. They could. That would make sense. That makes sense than trying to block it down. Okay. So no damage. Play another companion. Equip it with the gloves. Pass the turn. Opponent is going to get low enough on clock that they're not going to be able to play another game as long as this one. Although we might not be able to stall out another game as long as this one. So opponent picks up their Clattering Augur. They draw a card. Opponent has drawn 7 more cards than we have. They play a Marble Gargoyle and another Vermin Gorger. Well, this game is going to be over a lot faster. They only have 3 creatures that can block, so I think we take the 12 here. We untap. Oh my, how many lands in a row is that? Because we've drawn, out of all of the cards, like the last card we drew was this Sojourner's Companion, and we drew a Mind Collapse. We have drawn, I'm pretty sure, more lands than non-lands at this point. Okay, equip here. Go to combat. There's no way they don't just block and sack, though. Yep, they block with Marble Gargoyle. They sack it to drain us. So this time around, we will have to block, which means if they have like a sudden edict, we're in trouble. Pass the turn. Foundry Helix would keep us in this game just a little bit longer. We have no way to mill them more than they've already milled themselves. So they're attacking with everything. Block here. And then I think we're dead, right? Because they can drain us for 4 over the top. They discard to deal 1 damage. Yep. Alright. On to the last game. Let's not draw 12 lands in a row. Let's draw good cards and play good cards, huh? Good news is we will be on the play for game 3, and we are the more aggressive of the 2 decks. The bad news is this hand is not keepable. We got a mulligan. Oh, this hand is not really that keepable either. But we do have an artifact land cycler, so I'm actually going to hopefully we can make this hand work. We do need to draw another land, though. So lead on the Mouser. Pass the turn. Opponent leads on a Swamp. They pass. We draw Rustvale Bridge, which is perfect. Play the bridge. Play the Scrappling. And I'm going to move this counter over prematurely. Artifact count isn't going to matter for a while. I would rather get in for the extra damage and gain the extra life right now. Okay. I should have restarted the client during that last sideboarding section. So opponent does have a Legion Vanguard. We draw Drossforge Bridge. Play the bridge. And at this point, I don't know if I'm going to cycle. We're just going to pass. I could have cycled for a blue land there to play the Chrome Courier next turn, which might have been better than trying to play the Tracker the turn after. Okay, they play a Tizerus Charger. Artifact count is currently 3. If I draw an artifact land off the top, I can play Sojourner's Companion. Alternatively, I can play Arcbound Tracker and then play Sojourner's Companion the turn after. I draw a Mountain. So play the Mountain. Oh, but I'm giving up my ability to get blue mana here. Play the Companion. And I am going to attack. I'm risking them having the Edict, though. Or like a Seal of Cleansing. Them not blocking and just taking the damage to preserve their board state, I think, is the best move for us here. If they have single target removal that they can use next turn, we're in trouble. They block with Tizerus Charger. We gain 2, we lose our guy, and we'll make a 6/6. Okay. So I think Island is our best top deck. Removal is also good. We can play Tracker regardless. So like the 1 mana Shock would be pretty good play here if we could get it. Okay, opponent plays a Hellmongrel. We draw. Sweep the Skies. We're a long way off Sweep the Skies. This does not have modular, so go to combat. Attack for 6. Opponent no blocks. They're going to take 6 and go to 12. Okay. This means they probably have the Exile removal, which is going to suck if they do. Play Arcbound Tracker, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Clattering Augur and draw. If we could draw Mind Collapse here, it would be so amazing. Island would also be really, really good. Opponent explores, revealing World Weary. They put it in the grave because they can't actually play it. They don't have a second black source. This does mean they only have to discard 1 card if they want to block Sojourner's Companion and actually kill it. We draw blue source, which is fantastic. I would like to attack here, but I don't think it's a good idea. I'm going to pass. We're going to go for Chrome Courier next turn. Okay, opponent found the second swamp. Odds are that means they drew that this turn, if they put World Weary in the grave. For 5 mana Karmic Guide, they're going to get back Tizerus Charger. Okay, we got to start drawing some pretty good cards here. The Sword would be really good if we could get it. We haven't seen it all but one time this entire league. All right, play Chrome Courier, leaving open as many colors of mana as possible. Take Unholy Heat, go to combat, attack for 6. Okay, opponent blocks with Hellmongrel and Karmic Guide, and Tizerus Charger. Okay. Let's see how many cards they discard. None? That tells me they probably have a reanimation spell for Karmic Guide, and maybe I should hold on to Unholy Heat. Although killing the Tizerus Charger... We can kill the Tizerus Charger at any time. So play Rustvale Bridge, pass the turn. I think we're better off if our opponent has... as long as it's not Karmic Guide for Karmic Guide, we're better off using Unholy Heat to kill something else. When it goes to combat, they attack. This is fine. No blocks. Take 3. They play Guiltblade Prowler, a land, and a Marble Gargoyle. Kill the Gargoyle immediately, because that prevents our flyer from attacking. We untap. We draw. Island. So go to combat. Attack for 1 in the air. Opponent can't block. I really want to cast this Sweep the Skies, and I think it is correct to do so. There's a huge, huge issue, though, if my opponent has the demon that sweeps. Like, that's basically what kills us here. Okay? If not, they're going to be dead in 2 turns without something else. We're playing around Necrogoyf and not around other stuff. This attack, I think, is to get me to try and block Tizerus Charger. We're going to take the damage. Because Tizerus Charger they could buy back with flying, as well as... I don't think it's bigger. It's flying or a 1/1 counter. The demon, I think, is one-sided, not symmetrical. Karmic Guide. Getting back the Gargoyle. Okay. How does this change what we do here? We draw... Come on, Sword. Sword would be perfect. Okay, that gives us some extra looks. Play Thought Monitor for blue. If we can get the Sword and stick it on a Thopter and start flickering Chrome Courier, it's amazing. Ugh! Land. Play the land with the more relevant types. Do I swing out here? They're dead in 2 turns. We might be dead in 1. They're not dead in 2 turns. They can gain life. So go to combat. Attack with Arcbound Tracker. If they want to double block, we kill the Karmic Guide. That might be good that might be good for them. We are going to... I'm actually going to put the counters on Chrome Courier rather than Thought Monitor because I want to diversify threats slightly here. If I do draw the Sword, I think I would rather flicker Thought Monitor because that draws multiple cards unless I have to gain life. Opponent's probably gaining life off of their food. Okay, they're going to tap the Chrome Courier and exile it, which means we're going to have to do some blocking. So they swing out. So we block and block. Take 4. We untap. Draw Sojourner's Companion. Cast the Companion for free. That helps gum up the ground a little bit. Pass the turn. Going to continue holding on to this bridge. Make them think I've got something. Opponent untaps. They draw a card. I'm very thankful they haven't found their sacrifice guy yet. They attack in the air. It's only going to be 2 damage, so we'll take it. I really should have restarted the client during that last sideboarding phase. They play a Hellmongrel. They Madness Necrogoyf. That doesn't make us discard, because it's at the beginning of the upkeep. We draw Arcbound Prototype. That does matter. Play the bridge so we don't have to discard or worry about discarding. Pass the turn. No attacks. Man, that Thought Monitor drawing us land was so bad. We're only playing 16 lands. I don't know how we're drawing so many. I don't know what's happening because the game's lagging so much. Okay, then they're swinging out. Block here. Block here. Chump and chump. Opponent explores and explores. Okay, so that's exactly lethal. I did not think about the Explore, what they possibly had on top. They didn't have the ability to manipulate their top deck. They may have known what it was off of Clattering Augur. I'm not sure. We were really close. Hang on, let's see if I can get back to that game, if it will let me draw cards to see what was coming up. So if we had survived that attack, we would have drawn a land. So, all right. Yeah, I don't know what was up with that deck, but we just bricked too hard for 2 games in a row. We even got the Thoughtcast in the second game there, and that's just really frustrating. We absolutely could have won. We possibly could have won the other game we lost, but, the play decisions that I made, even if they were incorrect, the amount of percentage points I lose from those is going to be a lot less than just drawing 9 lands. So, all right, well, this has been Modern Horizons Draft number 3. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few times have been earlier than that. There may be a slight hiccup in the schedule. I have to pre-record a whole bunch of stuff because the end of next week, around the 11th, I'll be on a very long drive and basically inaccessible for a weekend. I have to pack up my whole setup. I'm going to be heading back to my family in the Midwest. And so there'll be a slight drop in quality of videos and stuff because I won't have my full studio set up. But I'll have as much as I can carry with me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. You're all wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of June. If you want to have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description below. Thank you all.